Welcome to the Filmcast review of Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair. I'm going to read the plot summary of this movie from IMDb. A female assassin seeks revenge on her former lover and squad members, all of whom left her for dead, end quote. It's been about 20 years since the original Kill Bill came out, 23 years or so. Since the original Kill Bills came out, Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2, originally intended as a single film, the Weinstein Company, or Miramax, Harvey Weinstein, suggested they split it up into two separate movies.
Double the money. Come on.
Yeah, which did end up, I think, being the correct financial decision, because each one individually ended up making over $100 million.
It made sense at the time, even though that was an era of, you had the good films that were split up, like the Lord of the Rings things, which were always planned to be separate, and also like the Matrix sequels, right? That was a weird time. Like, let's release two major movies 6 months apart, right? Continuing a single story.
But I remember having heard since back then, dating back to that time, about the existence of this thing called Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair. The idea being that
Cool News was all over it back then.
There was this thing, a lot of sex offenders in this history of the Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair.
An unusual amount.
Unusual amount.
A shockingly large amount. But regardless, Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair, I'd heard rumors, right? Like that there's this cut of the film that joined the two halves together and would be the ideal way to see the film. And for a long time, this cut was lost to the sands of time. Like I didn't know that we would ever actually see it.
He showed a cut in France. Was it at Cannes?
At Cannes, right?
And that was his personal cut. It had burned in English subtitles, or French subtitles. Yeah.
And so this existed there for out there for a long time, and so people would occasionally catch glimpses of it. You'd hear tell, so I saw Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair at a special private screening in Quentin Tarantino's living room, whatever.
It's showing at the New Beverly, and you only can see it if you're near the New Beverly at this time of day.
It was a big Los Angeles claim to fame for a long time.
So for a long time, very few people could actually see it, but then finally Lionsgate put this together where now the Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair not only got a theatrical release in December, it is now out on video on demand in the United States, which is amazing. Everyone now has access to Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair. So after decades and decades of waiting, the time has finally come. Now
I believe physical media. There will be a physical media release later this year.
I have not. Of course, I'm going to be on it. I have not seen details of that. Have not been announced yet. So I will believe it when I see it, Matt Goldberg.
It will be the sixth time I have bought the Kill Bills, because I also just bought the video on demand. I have DVD, Blu-ray, 4K Blu-rays of both movies already.
Yep.
God damn it.
Same. Yeah. So anyway, I do want to say that we are going to assume that you have either seen the Kills Bill or don't care about the plots of these films. So we're going to spoil everything in both films.
I spoiled it for a listener a couple of weeks ago when I mentioned a thing. I was like, I did not realize.
Yeah.
Did not realize that was spoilable.
Devindra, we are old. It's been over 20 years since this movie's come out, and a lot of people. So there's people who are listening to this podcast who did not exist when the original Kills Bill came out. So,
but also like that also shows that Kill Bill was not enough of a thing where people were like, I have to watch it as a budding cinephile, right? Like, I'm very glad this revival is happening to convince people to watch Kill Bill. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you should assume we're going to spoil this from the beginning. And so there are going to be spoilers for the whole movie, but suffice to say, we believe it is an important work in the history of cinema, and you should check it out. I want to start by talking about some of the big differences between Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair and the Kills Bill Volume 1 and 2, right? Which is Kills Bill Volume 1 and 2. That's how people have been mostly able to see it. You can still buy them in that format on video on demand. So this is still available. But here are some of the big differences as far as I can tell. Now, this is not every difference, but these are like the major ones as far as I can tell. Okay. First of all, the opening no longer starts with a Klingon proverb. It actually is instead dedicated to legendary filmmaker Kinji Fukasaku.
R.I.P.
There is an additional 5-minute or so long animation sequence which delves into Oren Ishii's backstory. It shows her takedown of Pretty Ricky, the henchman of Boss Matsumoto, who killed her parents. The House of Blue Leaves sequence is now in full color. And a lot of the music in that sequence has been removed. There's been music tweaks throughout the film, but like that's one of the big ones. the bride cuts off Julie Dreyfus's second arm in the vehicle at the end of Volume 1.
Just for fun.
The big one, in my opinion, is that there is no longer a cliffhanger at the end of Volume 1, which reveals that the bride's daughter is still alive. And there's an intermission, obviously, and then in Volume 2,
shorter intermission on the video on demand. By the way, it's like 3 minutes long. Whereas in the theater version,
it's
like
15 minutes. Yeah,
it's the full 15 minutes. You go take a break, go get some snacks. Yeah.
In Volume 2 of the original, there was a preamble where the bride recaps where the story is until this point, and that is gone in this Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair. And then finally, and most controversially, and trust me, we will discuss this, at the very, very end of the credits, there is a short film that is animated completely using Fortnite graphics.
No, there isn't. No, there isn't.
That tells the story. About? I know it sounds like I'm having a stroke, but it tells the story of Gogo Yubari's sister attempting to kill the bride in between a couple chapters. Of
if you don't acknowledge it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, so we will talk about that.
That is a great way.
We will get to it. We will get to it. All right. So those are some of the big differences in Kill Bill, between Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2 and The Whole Bloody Affair. All that said, Matt Goldberg, you recently revisited this film as The Whole Bloody Affair. I am curious, what was the experience like of watching it all together for you?
I was really overwhelmed by it in a good way. I'm like you. I was like, I saw these films in theaters as separate films. I know them. I've revisited them. And yet The Whole Bloody Affair was just out of reach, just beyond the horizon in Los Angeles at special screenings. And so for it to like have this nationwide big theatrical release, I called up my friend and I'm like, hey, we're going to this. And it's like, we're going to get home past midnight and we are too old for this, but we are going to watch this long movie. And I'm glad that we did, because not only does it sweep you along, but it still feels unique in Tarantino's filmography for it to be just sort of almost like, it's weird to call it like a balls to the wall action film, but I think it has it leans more into that kind of direction than almost anything else he's done, even though there's violence obviously in all of his movies. The style here, the fact that he could sort of stage that incredible fight at the House of Blue Leaves and that you feel it. And honestly, I'm sort of torn back and forth on like, what did I like it more in color? Did I like it, more the original black and white, which they did to get that R rating back in the day. But it's fascinating choices. The one choice that I think is the best though is removing the cliffhanger that her daughter is alive, because as a 2-part film, it's like, ooh, a cliffhanger. Ooh, I'll come back in 6 months. But if you watch it as a complete narrative, that moment, like, and I think if you try to go in with the mentality of someone who has never seen these movies and doesn't know how they're going to unfold, and that child shows up right when when the bride is about to kill Bill, that is mind-blowing, and it completely changes the complexion of the film, everything that's come before, everything that's about to happen, if you don't know that BB is alive. So I really liked that change a lot. And I think it really made the film feel fresh, not only in terms of, this big fight scene's now in color, but to really change the text in a really fascinating way.
Agreed on all counts, Matt. Thanks for sharing. Devindra Hardawar, you have revisited this movie a couple times, I think.
I've seen 1 and 2 dozens of times at this point. So I know these movies inside and out. And I'll tell you, Matt, I was really struggling with that removal of the tease, because to me it was such a well deployed drop in the first movie, and I have that memory of it, and we all waited for it. Like it just
it left you leaving the theater buzzing of like, oh my gosh. And also, by the way, he could have easily put it in this version
before an intermission.
Right? It still would have worked in this version, right?
It still would have worked, but I will tell you, there is something different, and I'm, I guess, turning about how I felt about this initially.
Yes. Yay.
Because the thing is, when you are stuck there for 4+ hours watching this thing as a single narrative, then yes, it does work differently, and that was probably a smart move. There are other things like I'm kind of iffy about, but yeah, I agree. Take it out, make it, especially for somebody new coming in, if they manage not to know that spoiler, it does hit harder, because then you're spending so much time with these characters and the movie is very much one thing. Then yeah, it does kind of work. But I maintain, like, having, watching this again at home, my home theater, these two movies, this is one of the best films ever made. And it still feels so different than how action movies are done today. We were in that era where everyone's like, oh, this Yuen Wu Ping guy, he's doing great work. Let's get him in everything. So he did Matrix. His team did Crouching Tiger. Like his choreography, it was everywhere. And I don't think we've gotten an action movie that really still does it this well again. Like the John Wick movies do it, but I think of the House of Blue Leaf sequence, and like that just goes on and on and on. And there are different setups to it. There are different ways it looks. It kind of shifts different levels. I love like that moment where they're in the small room and it just becomes this like avant-garde stage where it's just like the silhouettes of the fighting.
Right.
Doesn't work at all. Doesn't make sense. But it as a part of the scene, it's a great way to kind of change things up and just change the visuals. This film just really showed like what Tarantino could do as an action director in that scene in particular. Like we don't have this. We don't have this. John Wick movies will go on and on with extended set pieces, but they're often changing locations where the set piece will be, it's not as many people, right? It's maybe a handful of people with an extended staircase, the staircase sequence from, what was it, 4 or 3?
4.
It's stuff like that, but it doesn't feel as like you have such a big crowd. You're detailing so much choreography. That thing took forever to shoot. I remember like reading about like them just trying to make that whole scene. That still goes down as I think one of the best action sequences ever made in this entire like this. These movies are why I love watching movies in theaters. You know, they are visceral. They tell character driven stories through action. It is very well written, even though it's stylized like in his like cadence. There's a love of cinema here, a love of genre. And I also think back to the way that you know what makes Tarantino special is that so many elements of the Kill Bills, the songs and stuff coming in from it, like Battle for Honor Against Humanity is referenced in the freaking Super Mario Brothers movie. Like the pop culture impact of all of these things is undeniable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that just shows like how powerful Kill Bill is. I also maintain that Uma Thurman, wish the Oscars like were in a place to give her some love for genre work, because the work she does in this movie, not only is she doing a lot of the physical work, yes, she has a stunt double, but she did a lot of the action. She did a lot of training for this, but the dramatic work, like her waking up and finding out her baby is gone.
Yeah.
Her scene where she is crushed or she is in the coffin just trying to get out, that sense of panic in there. She's doing incredible work here.
Her discovering that her baby is alive, right?
Yes.
And that whole sequence and
all of it.
It is a generationally
there.
good performance, in my opinion.
And it deserves something. And then because she got injured after this and also soured their relationship too, that affected her work after. So there is a downside to this, and I'm glad I think he's sort of apologized. I don't know if that's enough, but it does make me sad. It makes me sad that this was such a great moment for Uma Thurman. We were just not in a place as a society, and certainly not the the Academy was not in a place to recognize what a tremendous performance this was. It's just it makes me sad too, because she deserves so much for this movie.
Yeah, I think you also make a great point about like when you said like it's this kind of action. I'm like, that is because what makes it different, and I would say that level of conscious style that we are breaking reality. That she's going to run up a banister and as part of this fight, and I think the key difference between like John Wick, or I was going to say like, oh, the Raid movies have really good fights, and they do, but they're very stunt driven. They're about the impact. They're sort of constructed as fights in order to win the fight. Whereas Kill Bill is sort of, and these other films, Matrix, Crouching Tiger, are about the grace of the martial arts and really letting you sort of swim in that rather than just getting to the kill.
On that note, I mean, I saw this movie in theaters, this whole bloody affair, and I was completely blown away. I think this is one of the greatest films of all time. It needs to be watched. It needs to be studied. People should check this out for sure. So like that is just like the top line. Uma Thurman is incredible. Like you have said, she is not only acting she's not delivering an incredible performance emotionally, but also convincingly doing a lot of the physically challenging stuff in this film, right? And so,
which is also, she's a very tall person. It is very hard for tall people to do like extensive martial arts like that too. So
it's amazing what she does, and Honestly, what I was reminded of, the comps I was thinking about when I was watching this were movies like The Matrix, were
Mhm.
movies like Mad Max Fury Road, where this
Yeah.
looks like it was hell to film, right?
Yeah.
To get this together, and the vast scope and ambition of it makes it all the more impressive that they were able to pull it off for a budget of, I think, around like $30 million. It's either $30 million for one, or for each part. I don't know. Either way, it looks incredible.
Mhm.
It's to my eye, the screen looks a little bit like fuzzy, because I think it was shot in 2K. There's no 4K upresing of this movie. I don't think Quentin
Mhm.
Tarantino's, despite what happens in the credits, he is not going to use AI to.
Hey man, they showed this in 70 millimeter in theaters, so I don't know. I thought this was 70 millimeter worthy, apparently. So
Yeah. Well.
yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
overall, it was an incredible, breathtaking experience to watch this movie in a theater as a whole, and I can't recommend it highly enough. Uh, I think when I first watched these movies, I didn't really get what he was trying to do. Right? I
Mm.
watched Volume 1 and I thought that was amazing, and oh my
And we
gosh,
had these conversations at this time,
right?
by
Sure.
the way. Like at the time these movies came out, it is wild. Nearly 25 years later, we are still talking about the Kill Bills together.
Right, and
in a very different
Volume 1, I was like,
situation. Yeah.
oh, this Volume 1, I was like blown away by. It's incredible.
Yeah.
The House of Blue Leaves. Oh my god, the fact that Quentin Tarantino can direct martial arts style action competently, right? That he delivers a very extremely competent martial arts scene. And by the way, basically never did it again. Like,
Yep.
he's just like, okay, I've already done that. I don't need to do it.
Django
again.
has some action, but he never quite does
I'm
it
not saying he
again.
never did an action scene, but he's never done really scenes of the style as they appear in this film again.
Yeah, people are out here being like, "Oh man, Paul Thomas Anderson's directing action. He did a really nice car chase, guys, but he didn't do anything on the level of this. Sorry,
Right.
sorry."
So I was blown away by part 1, and then part 2 just felt so sedate by comparison, right?
It's a
Like,
Western. Yeah.
and that's the thing, is like, as now watching it as a whole, it's really clear it's Quentin Tarantino showing you what his inspirations are.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, hey, I love Westerns. I love training montages. I love, action scenes where people get their limbs chopped off. I love, like all these, and it's like each chapter is kind of its mini, like, I love police procedurals. Like each chapter is kind of its mini play, its mini story, its mini genre pastiche, right? And I really appreciated that more this time around. And like, now that I have like kind of no real expectations going into it, it's like, oh yeah, like, in general, I expect an quote unquote action movie to have a build, to be like, okay, we're gonna put like a small action scene in the beginning, and the medium action scene in the middle, and then you save your big spectacular one for the end. And I was confused at the time of why he
Volume
didn't
2
do it that way.
purposefully went up that in many different ways. Yeah.
What
flips it
purpose?
around. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he flips it around.
It flips
right,
around
and
what you expect. Yeah.
exactly. And part 2, right, I think is great, and it's just very, very different than part 1, right? And it is. I think of it less as, hey, this is a conventional action movie with a conventional action movie build, and more like each chapter is its own Quentin Tarantino giving us a tour of his mind palace, right? And I really appreciate and enjoy it for that reason. So,
And kind of a tour of cinema.
Yeah.
Too, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah,
what
the
it is.
history of
It's not
cinema.
just what
Yeah.
he loves, but it is kind of the history of cinema at times here. The anime sequence. This was just locked away in a drawer for 20 years or so. Like an incredible. I love the extended anime sequence. Like they got production IG to animate that thing. I believe the animation director or character designer Samurai Champloo like directed all that stuff. Imagine making something like that. I love that whole sequence. It's just cut out of the movie, and then people can never see it again, especially for animation, which takes forever to storyboard and produce and actually animate. That was just sitting there. So I think if anything, go see this, because I think the extended sequence, the extended anime sequence is fantastic. And I brought this up before, like it is so much more reminiscent of like classic 90s action anime. I'm thinking of stuff like Kite by Yasuomi Umetsu, like just crazy, gory graphic animation. That whole elevator sequence.
Yes.
My goodness. So good.
I mean, one of the things that really jumped out at me is that, you see this in 2003, 2004. And Tarantino has always sort of, his brand has been like, I am the keeper of all the cinematic knowledge of like exploitation and like B-movie cinema, stuff that he saw in like grindhouse theaters and on VHS, and stuff that was a lot harder to come by. And in the last 20 plus years, a lot of stuff has found its way into physical media, into streaming, so that now an audience can, he's creating this pastiche, and it's a lot easier to see his sources. So I remember, like, obviously, while it was possible to see Lady Snowblood at the time of the film's release in 0304, it's a lot easier to see it now. And so when I come back to it as The Whole Blade and Frame, I'm like, oh, he really took a lot from Lady Snowblood, which is fine. It's an amazing film, but like, I find more rewarding these days and this goes for like his whole filmography. Like if you watch Django and you can see all the spaghetti westerns he's pulling from, that you are sort of seeing his work through now the films that it's easier to find the source material. And I find that really exciting in a way that it was neat at the time. It's like, oh, it's a pastiche, but I can't find these. And now you can.
Yeah. The world of media has changed a lot since then, right? And we can more easily see some of his inspirations for the film. So that is definitely something that's been pretty cool. Here's what I think might be useful or fun to do is let's just talk about some of these changes and talk about like whether or not we thought that they were good changes or what the effect of these changes were, right? So, I mean, I am really curious about this Klingon proverb change. It used to start with like revenge is a dish best served cold, old Klingon proverb. And I wonder, like, part of me wonders like, if Quentin Tarantino was a much younger man back then, he thought that was like, hey, I was just kind of like, let's throw in a Klingon proverb in there. And now it's like, this film is dedicated to legendary filmmaker Kinji Fukusaki, who the director who made movies like Battle Royale, which I think is
where
the
he
reason
found
why
Chiaki Kuriyama.
What'd you say, Devindra?
Where he found Gogo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Gogo Yubari as a character would not exist without Kinji Fukasaku, probably. So, anyway, just
he's an older man now. He knows like, you know what? This is an important space. What drives this movie? He's not
an older
Klingon
man
proper.
now, and when he's not talking shit about Paul Dano and Matthew Lillard, he's really respectful.
He's no longer throwing just Klingon. Why does it make sense to throw Klingon proverbs in there anymore? It doesn't make any sense. We gotta, he's like, I'm gonna like dedicate this to one of my heroes instead. So, all right,
and he does take a lot from Kinji Fukusaki. So yeah, totally makes sense.
You've already talked about the anime sequence. I think it's great. It's a great sequence. I
also,
understand.
like, that was a plot hole the entire time, by the way. The person who actually killed her father,
right? Not plot hole, but like something missing.
It was a thing. It was missing. Like, it was clearly missing.
It's a resolution that was missing from the original story. All right.
Yeah.
The House of Blue Leaves sequence being in color now. What do we think of this? I think it looks cool. I think that the reason I never liked it in black and white was just because it felt like a compromise. Like my understanding is it was a compromise to get the movie an R rating and instead of NC-17 because it was so bloody.
Yeah.
And so they're like, what if we just do everything in black and white?
It did look cool at the time in black and white. Like, it was that specific moment of the eyeball.
Yeah, the
eyeball pluck.
Yeah, that was cool.
Well, no, it's the eyeball pluck. That's the specific moment where it clicked over. Yeah.
And then later on, there's a close up on her eyes, and then she like blinks, and then it goes back into color.
Yeah.
So I thought it was fine the way it was before, but I didn't like the idea that he changed it just because of the MPA. Like that it was not his original vision, and so it's like he changed it because of the MPA. So I'm glad that has been undone.
Sure.
Cutting off Julie Dreyfus's second arm in the car. Which, by the way, apparently explains why in the original cuts, Julie Dreyfus rolls down the hill with no arms.
Yeah.
And I just never realized, she's missing both arms in that scene.
I love that moment too, by the way. She's very considerate arm slicer, right? She's not just like throwing her down the hill. There's an emergency room right there. They're going to get saved. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Yeah. It's very considerate.
Well, she needs the message to get delivered.
She needs the message to get delivered. Yeah.
If she bleeds out, that message is not going to get delivered.
This is a pre-smartphone era, right? Like, this is how we send messages.
You can't send a text.
It does add a kind of layer of cruelty to the bride's actions. In a way that wasn't there. Apparently, by the way, I read about this. Like, I don't know any details about this, but apparently when she kills Buck in like in original cut that's not even part of this whole bloody affair, like that killing was apparently much more graphic.
Well, she never kills Buck.
What do you mean? She slams his head in the door.
She squishes his head.
Yeah, she destroys his head in the door.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of
Bud. You're thinking
Bud.
of
Bud, not Buck. Yes.
No, Buck, the person who
Buck,
like assaults her.
Yes, she does kill the hell out of
while
Bud.
she's comatose.
Buck.
But apparently, like there was a cut of that scene of her killing him that was like much more upsetting. And they just didn't show it because it's like, oh well, like it will like kind of lose, like you'll kind of like she'll kind of lose people from her side in some, like the fear is that it was so graphic that it would like people would lose. And it's like maybe this is also part of that is like she kind of needlessly tortures this woman again, you know, even though
Not
the woman is also
needlessly.
complicit in
It's
in
all
these horrible things.
deserved. It's all deserved.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But anyway, I guess it's interesting that like this is like probably the most villainous thing that she does in the movie, you know, is like it's not because she killing
the moment where she's like, leave your limbs, they are mine now. That's pretty villainous.
Okay.
Those belong to me.
Fair enough.
That's pretty much like, you know, I love the camera pan to just bloody floor, like limbs everywhere. Julia Louis-Dreyfus character just still sitting there because she's the only one I think dressed in all black. So it's pretty cruel all around.
I did like that they removed some of the music from the House of Blue Leaf scene. Like I do think just like letting the sound design take over there makes a lot of sense, and you appreciate, I think, the work on the screen a lot more.
Yeah.
We've already talked about the cliffhanger being removed. I will just say that I like this. I think it's an extremely cohesive whole now where
it works for this.
It works for this, and then she gets to the end of the movie and she is stunned when she finds that her daughter is alive, and I do think that moment works really well because of Uma Thurman's incredible acting.
But it's also it's one of those things where it's like, oh, that moment now is trapped in amber. That moment that we had where it's like, oh, waiting between these movies, knowing that cliffhanger and having that feeling, you can still watch volume 1 and 2 separately and try to do that experience for somebody if you want. But I think anybody going to Kill Bill now will just go straight to this.
Yeah. So this is the way that you are intended to experience it, which is you are supposed to experience her surprise with her at the very end of the film.
Yes.
So those are the big changes. But of course, guys, we have to talk about what happens after the credits. Right?
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
I refuse to watch it. So I don't know. You guys tell me.
Did you not see it, Devindra?
No, I didn't watch it.
Oh,
I didn't watch it.
It's so much worse than you're imagining.
Yeah,
that's what I'm like. I know what this is going to be. I don't need my Fortnite bullshit here. Like, do not ruin this moment. This is right after one of the greatest cinematic experiences you can have right now. And you give me Fortnite slop? No, thank you.
Here's what's
to its credit, okay? First of all, they put this at the very fucking end of it. Like, literally, I'm watching the movie in theater. Everyone had left.
Yeah.
In the theater.
I didn't even know that was there at the end of the theater. So,
so there's all the credits. There's even this little blooper, like a blooper of Uma Thurman pulling out the guy's eye. And it shows, you know, she's like, oh, let's do it again. It's like, so I'm like, oh, you know, I had heard about this Fortnite thing and I was staying through I was like, is this Fortnite thing even going to happen? Like, I don't even know. Because I'd already been there for 4.5 hours. I'm going to read from Wikipedia. The Lost Chapter, Yuki's Revenge. In 2025, a short animation made by Tarantino and Epic Games in collaboration with the Third Floor titled The Lost Chapter, Yuki's Revenge was announced, first debuting in Fortnite. Yuki's Revenge is based on an early draft that included a chapter after the confrontation with Vernita, in which the bride has a gunfight with Gogo Yubari's vengeful sister Yuki, voiced by Miyu Ishidate Roberts. It was originally cut because it would have made the film overlong and added $1 million to the budget. The entirety of the animation was built in Unreal Engine 5 using Fortnite models, with Thurman reprising her role in voice acting and motion capture, Zoe Bell performing the stunts motion capture, and Bill being voiced by Tarantino himself, replacing Carradine, who died in 2009. The short premiered in-game on November 30th, 2025, and later uploaded on Fortnite's official YouTube channel on December 4th, a day before the theatrical release of Tarantino's film. The Lost Chapter was also shown as part of the theatrical run of Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair after the closing credits, end quote. So that is a background of what happened there. And Matt Goldberg, why don't you start? Tell us what your feeling was watching. No, had you seen The Lost Chapter, Yuki's Revenge, before The Whole Bloody Affair?
No. And I went in and be like, oh, is this in the middle of the movie? This must be an important thing to really add it in. And we're sitting through the whole credits. I guess it's not that important. Oh, are they even going to show it? No, they showed it. And
yeah, they showed it.
I think one of the first questions I have, one of the things like that's in my mind, like, why would you do this? Why would you do this? And my thinking is that print and advertising costs money. And they're like, well, maybe Epic ponied up some dough to basically do.
I hope it was in the many millions of dollars.
I hope it was worth it. That is one advertorial, because it's also like, it's not like, I think when you read the description, it's like, oh, it's from an early draft. It's like, yeah, it's from an early draft, and they made some little updates. Like all these Fortnite characters are in it. Like the banana guy is in this little thing, and I'm like, oh, great.
Okay. So Matt, I'm sorry to interrupt, but like, I think I would have been okay if it was like an actual artistic piece that was just happened to be done using Fortnite animation,
like a red versus blue type of deal.
Like machinima or something like that. Like I think I would have been okay. Like, oh, he's just using new tools to try to tell a story. Instead, it feels like, number one, clearly a Fortnite advertisement, because there's times when the camera focuses on Fortnite characters for no reason at all.
Yeah.
Right. And number two, it doesn't appear to take place in like Earth physical reality, right? Like it takes place in Fortnite reality, because like people get shot, but they have like the pixels and shit, like, you know, and so it's not like they're like bleeding and doing things that you would do.
It doesn't look like Kill Bill.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Kill Bill. So those are the big sins of Yuki's Revenge for me. Anyway, sorry, I know I completely derailed your conversation.
No. I mean, I think everything you're saying is correct. It's just such a weird kind of like, the only way I can understand it to watch it is like, oh, time to pay the bills. Like that's it. Cause it's not like, it's not, especially when you have like, you know, Devindra, as you pointed out, like that whole, like the scene where they kill Pretty Ricky, it's like been sitting in a drawer. It's like, yes, this is something that was this is like an added scene. You've brought it back into the film. I think it adds something to the story. It's really interesting. It's beautiful. And it's like, and you're going to say like, we've also added this scene and it's garbage. Like, no, it's not a real scene. And so like, of course you can skip it. It's like, I mean, congratulations on getting the money to, you know, re-release this film. If that's the cost of it, so be it. But I don't have to be like, ooh, Fortnite is cool now.
It's especially for Kill Bill, which is a celebration of like some of the greatest pop culture itself became such an influential tome of pop culture that it's still influencing things to this day. And you stick a fucking Fortnite animation in there. Like, so I refused when they initially launched this thing. It's like, I'm not going to watch this. I don't need to watch this. Even if it's at the end of something I own, I'm not going to watch it. You know why? Because there are other deleted scenes for Kill Bill. They're just floating around there. The Michael J. White scene, which I think
I thought they were going to add that back in.
Yeah, which is not in this version of the film. Yeah,
I can understand not putting it in the movie, like in the movie proper, because you want to maintain the mystery of Bill, and also how good is David Carradine? Like, just Tarantino knows how to use his actors. And like the thing I liked about Carradine is like he's always been like this really charming guy with this really particular voice. Like these movies just used him so perfectly. It's
and he brought all of his kung fu baggage to it. Like
all of his kung fu baggage. It's the idea of David Carradine that we all grew up with or have watched on TV and in films. Like only Tarantino can do that. To then end up in a place where it's like, oh, also he shot this thing with Michael J. White, which is a great fight scene too. Great choreography within there. I love that whole scene. That could have been your end of credits thing. Like, hey, this, oh, by the way, the side story happened.
But now it's like, but don't worry, David. Yeah. We're going to respect your memory by making you a cartoon man who like is kind of in this thing.
Unforgivable.
Yeah, I will say that my day was worse having watched the Fortnite short. Like, but I think it does say something that he puts it at the very, very end of the film.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he's almost like he's ashamed of it. Like, because if he was really proud of it, it would be. It's a chapter that could easily fit between other chapters in the movie, right? Timing wise, like You know, it could be chapter 6 instead of the current chapter 6, right? And so the fact that he's like, we're going to just squirrel it away at the very end, I think shows
how cool would that have been, by the way, if it was like a dedicated, okay, we did anime 2D animation, what if we do like modern CG animation within the Kill Bill universe? What would that look like, and fit it in there?
That's fine.
This whole thing feels like the difference between making this final cut or the whole bloody affair a limited theatrical release or a wide theatrical release. And it was pretty wide, right? Like it got in a lot of theaters from what I could tell.
Yeah, but I was very disappointed. Also, by the way, the clearest sign that this was just some bastardized version of Kill Bill is Uma Thurman's. It's wild that they got Uma Thurman to come back. That's cool. I'm glad. I hope Uma Thurman got paid money because that's the one thing good that might have come out of this, is because she deserves to get more recognition and compensation for what she did for this film.
Do you know the Uma Thurman history tied to our college, Dave?
A little bit.
I mean, her dad was a philosophy professor at Amherst, so that's why her name is Uma. But also, apparently, she was known for sunbathing topless in the front, like, which ended up being the philosophy building, Grosvenor House, I think. But she was known for doing that on our campus. So Uma Thurman, I don't know, we love you at Amherst.
Anyway, in the Fortnite short film, Uma Thurman's character, Beatrix Kiddo, is still driving around the pussy wagon during this time in the story, but because it's Fortnite and it's for kids, it's not called the pussy wagon.
For kids.
It has a little emoji of a cat wagon, so it's cat wagon.
Good, now it's okay.
It's a meow meow wagon,
and that's when I was like, wow, you have really sold out. You know, guys, I think we need to bring back the notion of selling out as a bad thing, because we've gotten so far away.
It's now
from
officially a good thing. It's now the thing you must do to survive.
That's what I'm saying. Is like we need to bring it back. We need to bring back the shame to selling out. I'm going to say this, by the way. So going back to the film, the only other thing that I observed, I know this is very obvious at the time. I'm not saying this is like a huge insight or anything like that, but it really did occur to me how much of a creep Bill is in this version, like watching it all like this, where he not only has a group of assassins, he's also sleeping with all the women assassins in the group. And not only sleeping with all the women assassins, he's sleeping potentially with the women's assassins' assistants. Because like
they're all part of the group.
You kind of get a sense that he's like, he and Julie Dreyfus have like some kind of romantic relationship.
Homer, there's a lot you can do with multiple assassins in your harem. There's more, there's more things you can do.
What kind of messed up assassination squad is this? It feels more like a cult to me.
I think they're having a good time over there.
Yeah, it feels more like a cult to me than like a well-organized business enterprise, is all I have to say.
How do you make money, Bill?
Go ahead, Devindra.
I want to take time to also just throw some love to every single person in this movie, by the way. Like Vivica Fox, that first fight scene. Yeah. I remember that moment where, we get the intro, we get the Nancy Sinatra song. Like, what is this? What is also that whole sequence? The gunshot to the head straight to the, like, that's
this
so
is me
iconic.
At my most masochistic. Extremely.
It's your gunshot. That opening fight scene, no introduction to the characters, nothing else. Like, I love how economical his storytelling is here, because what happened? She was shot in the head, left for dead. Where is she now? She's somewhere else. A big siren goes off, like, that's one of the people that killed her. Fight. And you fight. That's it. No words exchanged, nothing. And then you have the break for the kid and everything. And then you can fit in the backstory. But I think that whole first scene shows like how much he realized, like, this is storytelling through action. This isn't just people talking, and the people talking is very good, but storytelling through action. Daryl Hannah, everyone, Sonny Chiba. I cherish the Sonny Chiba scenes, especially like the early restaurant scene in this. Like, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's funny. He's charismatic. That shift when she says Hattori Hanzo and you hear the guy in the background, his assistant, drop the cup, all those little bits, just like it's just so good. So I want to say everyone's on their A game here. Yeah.
The one that really got to me this time, that really affected me, was the Michael Madsen storyline.
We've talked about this. Yeah.
And specifically, like, he had a very sad life. right?
Bud has resigned himself to a shitty existence because
Right.
he knows how much harm he has caused in the world. So, like,
Right.
yes, he will do a shitty job. He will let a dumbass boss just talk down to him. He will be on the lowest part
Right.
of society because he chooses to be.
Yeah. So that's obviously very powerful, but also
Mhm.
very formidable. Like the bride underestimates him,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that's how he gets the jump on her, right? So
Well,
He is the
that's
only one that can actually get to it.
Well,
Killed her.
what you were saying about about like how it becomes a Western in like part 2 is a Western, or volume 2 is a Western, and like Bud is the retired gunslinger. He is like, I can still shoot. I know I don't want to.
Yeah. And then it's just a really interesting detail of him lying to Bill and saying he sold the Hattori Hanzo sword.
Yeah.
Right. And then you find, and they never like remark on it again. Right. Like it's never brought up again in the film, but she does then find the Hattori Hanzo sword in his house, and you realize, oh, he lied earlier when he was talking to his brother Bill about the sword. And it's like,
I love
and it makes you think
reaction in that scene, by the way, too. You sold a Hattori Hanzo sword? Yeah.
Right. And it's like, why would he lie about that? And it just makes you like kind of try to fill in all these blanks that the movie just leaves open for you to do. Like there's no definitive explanation as far as I know. Like
he has so much pathos as a character too. His bit from the trailer is like, this woman deserves her revenge. We deserve to die. It is an acceptance, a fatalism of the shitty life he's led and all the bad things he's done. But at the same time, he needs money. Like
he's not going to go quietly.
Yeah, he's not going to go quietly.
Yeah. What was did you guys have an interpretation of why exactly Daryl Hannah's character killed Michael Madsen? I know she says in the movie, she says like, basically you deprive me of the ability to take on the bride. Like that's that is the implication as to why she.
I think that's it. She's.
I didn't know if I didn't if you had any other interpretation as to why she kills him.
I think thematically, when you reach the second half, Daryl Hannah's character, what's her name? It escapes me at this moment. But anyway, she is the representation of
L Driver.
Thank you. Is sort of the dark mirror of the bride. She is sort of that sadistic lust for violence. She is without control. Hence the one eye. She's already half blind. And the way that she goes about it as sort of, I think what the film is trying to do in its second half is to say that the bride is not just all consuming violence, that she is not just this whirlwind of destructive power. And yet, in order to be more than that, she has to conquer that. Hence their fight in the trailer where she leaves Elle completely blind. So I feel like that's sort of my interpretation. She kills Bud.
She's still alive too.
Yeah.
She's
still
out
alive.
there. She's out there. She could be a blind swordswoman if they actually come back to this story somehow. So
I feel like, her killing Bud is sort of an expression of the darkest elements of Beatrix Kiddo.
For sure.
Interesting.
Daryl Hannah, who is now married to Neil Young. Congratulations, Neil Young. Amazing win for him.
Yeah. So the only other thing I wanted to mention is, I guess, when I'm watching this, I'm kind of revisiting a lot of some of my initial things I got hung up on, right? When I watched it. And like now I don't really care as much anymore. I'm like, I let go a lot of those things. But it was kind of interesting to me to get to the end of the film, and then Kill Bill's like, I've invented a truth serum that's more powerful than sodium pentothal. And I'm kind of like, I remember at the time watching it being like, that's really freaking random. And now watching it now, I understand. I mean, I think I understood it back then as well, but like the reason why that needs to happen is because he's like, we need to have a moment where the bride honestly communicates with Bill what she was thinking at the time.
Let's go to therapy. Yeah.
And that you cannot, but that the only way to do that was that Bill is also some kind of scientist. Right? I just thought that was a little strange.
People working for him. Some minion developed that. He's the head of a criminal empire at this point. So he can assign somebody, let's do this. And you know how much money we can make with a super truth serum?
Yeah, I guess I'm just
incredible amounts of money.
I wonder, like, I guess I'm curious, like, why Quentin Tarantino as the writer felt like he had to do that is because would it not have been interesting enough with just the bride talking to Bill?
It's a cheat code. It's a cheat code to be like, Okay, we're all cards on the table now.
Yeah.
We're both just saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like you don't want. I guess he Quentin Tarantino, the writer, really didn't want you to have to worry about whether the bride was telling the truth or not in that scene, and so he concocts this whole elaborate truth serum thing. But
it's an emotional standoff. Yeah.
I mean, also, you don't want to have the threat. You don't want to like. It's like, if you don't tell me the truth, I'll kill our daughter, which doesn't read as honest. So
yeah. That
good,
I totally
good dad
get.
over here, good sandwich maker. Apparently, he's taking care of the kid. He's got a Shogun assassin at the ready for his daughter. Like, yes, what more could a kid ask for? Yeah.
Yeah,
mommy, let's watch Shogun Assassin.
What do you make of? I'm watching this scene. I think one of the things that's strong about the film is this juxtaposition between just brutal ultraviolence and then these scenes of domesticity, right? That happen a few times. Like happens a few times. Like the very first scene with Vernita Green, and then at the end where like the bride is about to like shoot him, and then all of a sudden the daughter's there, and then they need to like really tone it down and play house for a little bit. Anyway, I guess. Do you have any thoughts with what Bill is doing in that ending sequence? Right? Is my sense is he's showing Beatrix Kiddo her daughter out of compassion for Beatrix Kiddo, but they still intend on killing each other. Right? Like
one of the first scenes is him stopping Elle Driver from killing her. Right? Like if she wakes up, she deserves to come find her. Like he has given her many outs to basically come to her, like that amount of respect. And the scene we get of them in the wedding house too, in the wedding chapel, is very much like a sign of respect. He is so good. Carradine's so good. These scenes are so well written. He was like, I love you, but also you left me and I am so angry about this. What can I do?
But it's also
so well balanced.
It's also sort of a writer's anger, because I think a lot of Bill's anger is like you would have a life that I do not condone for you.
Yep.
And you would not have been happy playing house with your daughter and this, unremarkable guy, because I know you so well. And on the one hand, like maybe that's probably true that Bill knows her better than she knows herself, but it's also the denial of a choice for her,
right?
And that she doesn't get to make those choices. And I think it's one of the more interesting gender lines of the film, which is that Bill cannot conceive of motherhood and fierceness residing in the same place. That for her to give up the assassin life, she would give up everything she worked for, her job, and play housekeeper and mommy. And this whole film is like, I can kind of have it all because you've underestimated me at every turn.
Right. I think it is notable that the way she kills him at the end is sheathing his sword, right? Like they have that little fight at the table, and then she like puts the sheath up, and then the sword goes into it, and it's like,
yeah.
Love those little moments. Love those, and it's the one technique he could not learn. So he always felt like he was her better in many ways, right? And then that scene proved it. But it's also that it's like, to the truth serum, this is an emotional standoff, like what Tarantino popularized the idea of the Mexican standoff, right? And that's that drama where all the guns are pointed at each other. What will happen next? And in this movie, it's not guns, it is truth. It is emotional truth pointed directly at each other. What is going to happen with these characters? That always blew me away in the theater. Like, it's not a big fight sequence that we get. It is a conversation and a final hit, and that's it. Yeah.
And you can't be mad because you've had your big fight sequence. So like, what are we going to do?
Yep.
Absolutely.
What are you going to do? Get Michael J. White over here in a wonderful fight scene with David Carradine?
Maybe.
No, we'll never do that. Yeah.
All right, guys. I loved this movie. I think it really works as an entire work viewed together all at once. Like, I think it's an incredible experience. I, again, cannot recommend it highly enough. And at the end of the day, it is very impressive that Quentin Tarantino made a film.
It is.
Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.